Helldivers 2 might be the only game where you can say, wow, there's a lot of bots and bugs in this. And it's a compliment. Democracy.
Why did you do that just now? Why?
Who needs her democracy liberated? OMG me.
I'm leaving the game.
I think it has a real chance to win Game of the Year in 2024. That's a bold statement, Ackman. Let's see if it ages poorly. But if it isn't at least nominated, then we'll know for a fact automatons have infiltrated the Game Awards and compromised our democracy. I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying this trend of indie developers releasing games with little marketing that manage to topple their AAA competitors. The ones that keep puking out the same garbage we're tired of. I could get used to this, it's refreshing. Like my morning cup of liberty. Helldivers 2 has skyrocketed in popularity. It became the most played title on Steam and PS5, one of the top selling games on both platforms, and in a rare twist of fate, the player base has remained consistent, even a month after launch. Games like this deserve their success and much more, because the developers at Arrowhead have clearly worked their asses off. Just look at the difference between Helldivers 2 and the original. Might be the biggest leap a sequel ever made. Did you know Helldivers 2 was in development for so long that the engine they used to make it was discontinued? Meaning Arrowhead had to improve and modify the engine while working on the game? Now, I don't know much about all this game development, but even I know that shit ain't easy. So what the hell is so special about Helldivers 2? Why is it thriving while recent AAA releases are struggling? Has it uncovered some secret to make live service games not so boring and formulaic? And most importantly, is Helldivers 2 worthy of being called a masterpiece? Well, let's praise democracy, brew a cup of liberty,
and get set for a combat drop.
Together, we must take back control of freedom.
We are so back.
We are so back.
We are back,
bro, dab me up. Dab me up right now.
We are with you, sire, for freedom, to the death.
My leg!
Grenade!
I'm calling an eagle strike. Run!
Why are you calling this on me?
You will die if you stay. Fuck you.
Oh my god. There is no fucking way. There is no fucking way this is gonna be possible. Okay, I'm gonna go to the escape pod data. Oh wow,
You are not going anywhere.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! Why did you get the attention?
Yo!
Rain down the liberty!
This one's for democracy.
It's coming!
I'm sacrificing myself on the...
There's three of them! There's three of them! Oh! Yes!
Nice.
Yes!
This is it, baby. What's that?
News from the Ministry of Truth? They say this video is sponsored by Arup? Indeed, it's the life-changing water bottle built by science and liberty. Arup uses scented pods and flavor to turn normal water into flavored water, without any additional sugars, sweeteners, nothing. It's pretty ingenious because our sense of smell influences our taste. And the way it works is that by drinking through the straw, a slipstream is created where water and air go through the pod and into your mouth. Now, I know a lot of people who don't like drinking water for some reason. They prefer tea, soda, energy drinks, and they go through life totally dehydrated. If you know you don't drink enough water, then this is the perfect solution for you. And you have the freedom to pick and choose from a variety of different flavored pods. Basil lemon is my personal favorite, and it's super easy to swap the pods out. Bang, just like that. You want flavor? Pull up, leave it right there, and if you don't, just push down. Easy. So order your Arup water bottle today using the link in the description and pinned comment. And don't forget to use my promo code ACTMAN10 to get 10% off. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and thank you Arup for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
What would you get if you took Starship Troopers, Terminator, Halo, Left 4 Dead, and threw them all in a blender? You would get every wet dream I've ever had. Check it out. Watch how it shoots. I think that looks really cool. Oh my god. Dude, it just hit the fucking... No way that just happened. But I'm biased because guys in space shooting aliens is a concept I have simped for my entire life. In Helldivers 2, you don't have the traditional kind of video game storytelling. It's more community-based, and I'll explain what that means later on. The game takes place in a sort of utopia, where humanity has formed a one-world government called Super Earth, and life here is perfect.
But freedom doesn't come free.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
Look familiar?
That's right, our glorious Super Earth is under attack. Our democracy and freedom is being threatened. Why did this war start? I'll tell you why. Because our enemies hate freedom.
Do you want to know what I hate more than anything else in this world? Anyone who isn't free.
The fascism aspect, the whole, for democracy, sweet liberty, that's all just window dressing, you know? It's flavor. It's no different than terrorists versus counter-terrorists, Nazis versus everyone else. The absurd levels of patriotism, not absurd, the reasonable levels of patriotism opens the door for some of the funniest dialogue you've ever heard.
Say hello to democracy!
My life for Super Earth!
I'm hit! Sweet liberty! The blood!
Obviously, there is a vibe of extreme nationalism, militarism, and patriotism, and the best part, I'm brainwashed into all of it. Part of the beauty of Helldivers 2 is that it has no deep, thought-provoking story. It's not really trying to make a statement. It's obviously inspired by Starship Troopers, but, you know, the story is basically like, hey, do you like freedom? Yeah! Sweet, let's go kill bugs!
The only good bug is a dead bug.
One of the side objectives you can get is to terminate illegal broadcasts, which are spreading the idea that the war against the Terminids is all because of oil. I've checked with the Ministry of Truth on this, and they have confirmed to me that this is treason, and it's not true. Brewed free back home. Yo, it's leading all the flavor polls. Can you believe that?
Holy shit.
Of course I believe that, because to not believe it would be treason.
The Ministry of Truth said so.
Yeah.
They wouldn't lie.
Yeah, they would never lie. But Helldivers is so silly and over the top that it's more fun to play along, especially when you have game trailers that are like this.
The socialist automatons terrorize innocent families. Babes are torn from their mothers. Voters from their ballots.
In the item shop, only reviews approved by the Ministry of Truth are allowed. Review under investigation for treason.
It's treason, then.
Sometimes when the UI loads, it says, please wait democratically. This is super unique because these are parts of a game that, you know, aren't ever stylized in any sort of way. And yet they take this concept and they plaster it all over the game in every way they can. You also get to name your shit by choosing from some preset words. Mine, of course, was the Fist of Patriotism. You can also choose something like Wings of Liberty, Patriot of Patriotism, Founding Father of Family Values. Games like Palworld, Deep Rock Galactic, and now Helldivers have this uncanny ability to tap into meme culture and create memes and capitalize on all of that without being cringe.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Brash tactics. Use them.
Damn, in the name of fucking propaganda, fucking put her there.
Put her there. Already, the fans are making their own propaganda posters, like, take back the creek, stamp out the bot. I fucking love the culture and fan base and community around this game. It truly feels one of a kind. Dumb, check,
Yeah, check.
check Actiboys.
POV, you're being rescued. Run.
So Helldivers 2 is a third-person co-op shooter where you and 3 buddies bring liberty and freedom to an army of killer robots and a race of giant bugs. And by liberty and freedom, I mean explosives and bullets. That should, right there. Got him. Okay,
Thank
got him
God.
with that shit. Helldivers does a great job of combining familiar tropes into something that overall feels fresh. Bugs and propaganda from Starship Troopers. Automatons and robots from Terminator. Armor that kinda looks like Spartans from Halo. Helldivers equals Hell Jumpers. Even the dropships are called Pelicans. But unlike Palworld, nobody has brought up the word plagiarism, because these designs are unique and they are fucking sick. But much like how shooting zombies in Left 4 Dead 2 never gets old, neither has blasting bugs and clankers. One, because the gameplay mechanics are more solid than Snake, and two, an important phrase, visual feedback. When you shoot a bug, it doesn't just fall over and die. No, it gets eviscerated. Their limbs are torn off. They might start limping, puking up blood. You can strip off the armor of a charger, for example, and see the green goo beneath. It's visceral and satisfying like no other game I've played. The amount of ways you can inflict damage on the bots and bugs is crazy. It's so dynamic. It's like a technical marvel. Oh, that is danger close.
Running.
Kill all
Oh
of
my god. I'm a fucking torso. When you shoot automatons, chunks of metal go flying everywhere. You can shoot off their arms, destroy the weapons on their back. Almost every single firearm and sandbox tool feels powerful and satisfying to use in its own way. The ragdoll effects are hilarious. Fuck! Oh! Sometimes your character just gets flung across the map so hard he smashes into a wall and dies on impact. And you got this sick dive move which makes avoiding enemies and explosions look so dramatic. There's some games that you play and you're like, wow, this is like playing through a movie. And that's what Helldivers is like. Except you are the action star and these scenes aren't scripted. The animations and attention to detail is what makes every moment of combat so damn cinematic. Ooh, ooh. With games like this, most of the fun comes from the enemies you shoot at and what you shoot them with. There is a huge variety of enemy types in Helldivers 2, and each enemy type has weak points which force players to use and swap between different tactics on the fly. Certain enemies like the Charger look like they can only be damaged from the back, but if you get a powerful enough weapon, you can strip the armor off their legs and cripple them. There's always more than one way to get the job done. I mean, you got things like drop ships, bug holes, giant laser cannons, tanks, bile titans, these fucking abominations. Oh my, huge robotic hulks with flamethrowers. And the visuals are so important because, you know, in a game like Destiny, they would have a bunch of numbers on the screen when you shoot something. And Helldivers doesn't need that. You can see how much damage you've done to something just by looking at it. On higher difficulties, they increase the number of enemies instead of just boosting their HP and damage. And I think that's the right way to increase the challenge. It's why the difficulty and balance in this game feels so amazing. And since there's no PvP, and there never will be, the developers can go hog wild and create a bunch of overpowered bullshit that you can throw at the enemies of democracy. There's rarely a dull moment in Helldivers. It's a non-stop rush of adrenaline and unscripted cinematic chaos. And after 50 hours, it hasn't gotten stale one bit. Helldivers' biggest strength comes in its variety in every aspect of its game design, especially the sandbox. The people of Super Earth clearly pay their goddamn taxes, and apparently it all goes to the military because we are well equipped, lads. You have these things called stratagems, which are essentially kill streaks you pick and spawn in with. Get in the shield, boys. The shield is here. Wait, what the fuck? Oh my god, you landed on the shield and destroyed it! You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! And each one requires a button combo, the numbers on your credit card, and the 3 digits on the back in order to call them in. Picking the right stratagem at the right time is paramount to success. And when you're trying to do this shit while outrunning a horde and trying not to kill your teammates, well, it's just awesome. I spawned and instantly was killed again. Orbital lasers, carpet bombs, napalm strikes, mini nukes. You can have guard dogs that watch your back with laser beams, jetpacks that let you quickly escape, sentry turrets to watch your 6, mortars, shield generators, gas bombs. The Geneva Convention is no more. I mean, there is a meta which becomes more prevalent on higher difficulties because you need something big to take out the bile titans. But even on suicide mission, me and the boys can bring in whatever the fuck we want and still come out okay. Helldivers 2 doesn't pigeonhole you into one specific optimized playstyle. And that's what I love about it. Part of the reason the game is so replayable is that it's a lot of fun to mix and match primaries, secondaries, grenades, backpacks, and synergize your strategy with your teammates. Helldivers rewards good teamwork and strategy. Not to mention, that I have played a lot of shooters in my time, and I've never played something that felt like Helldivers. When it comes to the aiming, when it comes to the actual shooting mechanics. And you can't just like max out your sensitivity in order to zip around and like instantly do a 180 to shoot something behind you. It takes time to line up the shot. And you have to know when to crouch to improve accuracy and recoil, when to reload so you don't waste ammo, pacing your shots. There's so many little mechanics you can master to really flourish in this game. And it makes the shooting feel awesome. Helldivers' core combat is complemented perfectly by its level design, which emphasizes risk versus reward. Sure, you can do the main missions and just exfil out of there, but a real patriot completes all the optional missions, clearing out every outpost and bug nest to maximize XP and rec slip gains. Samples are also an important resource to upgrade your ship permanently, but they drop on death. Let's say your team is starting the evac and you just died and dropped all your samples. You've got 2 minutes. Do you stay with your team and help them defend, or risk it for the biscuit and make a beeline for your samples?
All this for a couple of samples? You're crazy.
Sir, it's for democracy.
At times you have to decide, do you split your team up to tackle multiple objectives at the same time, or stay together as a single unit? Throughout each mission, players are constantly making decisions like these based on the risk and the reward. As a team, you have to decide when to do the optional objectives and when it just ain't worth it, man. On top of this, there's a time limit and a limited number of lives. If the clock hits 0, you can't call in reinforcements, no respawns, and you can't use stratagems. So when choosing where to spawn on the map, you want to plan the most efficient path to complete everything. And when you do, when you maximize the rewards and see that fat XP gain, that 5-star mission completion, yeah, it's better than sex, for sure. That's like one of the best missions I think I've ever done. And it caps off the whole thing. Outstanding patriotism. Look at those samples, man.
Ah, that's beautiful.
And like I said, teamwork is important. You're dealing with a bunch of really powerful explosives and carpet bombs and shit, and friendly fire is on.
Run!
Just go, just go, just go, just go.
Ooh, right there, right there. What? What? You killed. Get in. Get in. Oh. How did you kill me?
Oh my god, no.
How did you kill? Why?
Spenny.
Why?
My shot.
Why?
Spenny almost sold that whole mission in
Why
the
would
last
you?
5 seconds.
That is the worst place you could have killed me.
Dude,
oh my
get
God.
this guy away from the fucking stove immediately. He can never cook ever again.
And while it's very hard to resist griefing your friends, when shit hits the fan, sloppy teamwork will be the death of you and all the democracy you're fighting for.
Man, the friendly fire has been off the chain this sesh.
I know. Oh, look out. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. Speaking of, Jesus. I had the opportunity to whip. That's kind of how they balanced all these overpowered stratagems with friendly fire. You can't just carelessly chuck out a nuke whenever you like. Oh, I'm dead.
Okay, he just knocked a fucking.
Yeah, he needs to go
out of
down.
my hands. You need to leave.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, God. Oh, my God. I'm dead again. Dead again instantly. In a real war, you gotta watch out for your brothers and yourself because even the dropships can kill you.
Requesting sentry.
Oh, my fucking... You gotta be shitting me. You have actually got to be shitting me.
He got landed on.
He didn't know where he was standing. He didn't
Oh
watch where
my
he stood.
god, shut up. You can also kill enemies and teammates with your own drop pod. It's fucking awesome. Why didn't Halo ever think of this? Another cool mechanic is reloading. Some weapons require ammo backpacks, and it's slower to reload if you carry it, but it becomes almost instant if your teammate does, allowing you to launch shell after shell downrange. This emphasis on risk and reward, teamwork, and synergy makes Helldivers 2 one of the most enjoyable and satisfying games to play with your friends. So I'd say the core gameplay is basically perfect. I really don't have many complaints. Except those escort missions against the fucking automatons. That was hell. But a game like Helldivers might completely fall apart if the objectives are boring. Thankfully, there's as much variety in the mission design as there is in the sandbox and enemy types. The objectives are much more involved and creative than you would expect. You have to do things like manage the terminal, enter proper combinations, and do all these things while fighting off waves of enemies. Often you have to make yourself vulnerable to complete the objective. On the galactic map, you get to choose where you land, what types of missions you do, what time of day, and you see what modifiers might make the run easier or more challenging. Because you have a choice, you never feel like you're doing the exact same thing every time, and you know precisely what you're getting into. Many other multiplayer games get repetitive and dull in a fraction of the time I've played Helldivers for. On bug planets, sometimes you run into these big ass stalkers. These guys are no joke. They are tanky, they can chase you down and kill you fast. But if you take out their nest and tell them to fuck off, they won't spawn for the rest of the round. There's artillery stations you can find, and if you load them up with 5 shells, bam, you now have 5 extra artillery stratagems for the rest of the mission. So the game rewards you with XP and progression, of course, but also in making the mission easier. That's great design. There's also plenty points of interest, and you can find premium currency and war bonds out in the world just by exploring. You may be encouraged to complete everything and try to do that every round, but ultimately, it's your choice when to call it quits. And those are 2 words I love: player choice. Did I mention the planets in Helldivers 2 are procedurally generated? Yeah, I know, it doesn't even feel like that when you're playing. Making procedurally generated content feel handmade is one of the hardest things I can imagine for a game developer, but the result is an endlessly replayable experience. Every planet is stunning and gorgeous in its own way. Now, I got a nice rig, a 4090 graphics card, and I tell you, this is one of the best looking games I've ever played. Each planet hosts a different biome, and once again, variety is the spice of life here. You have Space Vietnam in Malevelon Creek, snowy planets, lava planets, jungles, rocky mountains.
Yo, what is this? Make snowball? Yo.
Excuse me.
What?
How do I make a snowball?
I don't know. There was just a button prompt for it over here. What?
Some places are engulfed in a bright orange light that obscures vision. It's not just giant bugs you have to overcome and contend with, but the environment itself. Darkness and fog can really put you on edge because sometimes you don't see the enemy until they're right in your face.
Guardian, I can't see fucking shit right now.
Crossing a river might not seem too challenging, but when there's no cover, you move slower and you throw a shit ton of robots on the other side. Crossing that river becomes a massive hurdle. Snowy planets can make you move slower and reduce the fire rate of your guns. So many little details.
Oh my god. Oh god. Oh, it almost killed me. I could see the fucking... Yo.
And here's the thing. All these factors, weapons, stratagems, planets, modifiers, mission objectives, optional missions, points of interest, all of these things make each mission feel unique from the last, even when you're doing it on the same planet, in the same biome. I genuinely cannot compliment this game enough. So whenever new planets are unlocked, I'm excited to get on and see what else the game can throw at me.
Freedom Peak? Liberty Ridge?
Also, whenever you dive onto a planet, you're treated with a spectacular backdrop, which seems to change depending on what part of the planet you dive on. Now, this might not be true, but it's my headcanon that when you travel somewhere and you see all these other ships, I like to think those are other players' ships. If you look down, you can even see stratagems being called in. I mean, it feels like a real war, man. Fuck, this game is so good. There's even a bit of Battlefield's Levolution and destructible environments. I mean, this game has everything.
Oh god, he just blew that house up.
Holy shit.
To make matters even better, Helldivers 2 is a $60 game being sold for $40. You get more content and enjoyment out of this than a lot of other AAA releases. And like Baldur's Gate 3 and like Palworld, there's no catch, no scummy business practices. Arrowhead just wanted to make a fun video game, and it shows. Everything the CEO has been saying online is so fucking based. He was straight up telling people to wait and buy the game until the servers were fixed. Have you ever seen a CEO be like, yeah, it's okay if you don't buy our product right now? No, you don't hear that. So Helldivers doesn't have a battle pass, but it does have a freedom pass, which is way cooler. And like Halo Infinite, these seasonal and event passes will never expire. That's right, no FOMO, grind at your own pace. What a concept. And to get the premium, you need 1,000 super credits. Now this is where companies like Activision would do something like charge you $10 for 800 super credits or $15 for 1300 credits. They would pull some scummy little tactic with the in-game currency to get you to buy more than you actually need. Not here. You just spend 10 bucks, you got it. Some armor sets in this are straight up like $2 or less. Meanwhile, at Activision Blizzard, buy a different Portal color, $30. At a time where many gamers are fed up with how greedy big corporations are, I'm happy to say that the developers of Helldivers 2 respect your time and your wallet. They earned that money. They also wanted to make sure they avoided any pay-to-win comparisons or mechanics. What you get in the premium pass is arguably worse than the free one. And unlike other games where you can pay to skip tiers, you can't. You can only progress the freedom pass by playing the game. The only issue is that the grind is ridiculously slow. I've put more than 40 hours into the game and I'm nowhere near unlocking everything. If we could buy war bonds with requisition slips, that'd be nice, because at a certain point you unlock all the stratagems and you just requisition slips mean nothing to you. Now, like I said, there isn't a campaign or a main story. There's more lore than there is story. But what's the purpose behind this war? Liberation. Quite possibly one of my favorite features in all of video games is in Helldivers 2. Galactic Conquest 2.0, as I like to call it. There is a war going on in real time. Every day, the forces of evil push against us. They seek to conquer our outlying planets, kill our civilians, murder our families. Helldivers 2 has a sort of dungeon master behind the scenes, controlling what planets are open, what planets get attacked. Somewhat recently, the order was for players to fight the automatons in these defense missions, but now the Terminids are moving in, and we gotta push them back. So it's like this ebb and flow. And every time you and your team achieve victory in a series of missions, you liberate a very small percentage of the planet. Liberate enough planets and players will push deeper into enemy territory. If the community fails too much or doesn't divert enough manpower, those planets may be lost and the enemy pushes deeper into our territory. Who's the genius behind this idea? I want to give him a medal. I imagine it's very hard to balance something like this, especially with the massive unexpected player count they had. But they seem to be doing a good job of it, and as long as I feel like
I'm doing my part,
I'm happy. And this is why Helldivers 2 has the greatest blueprint for a live service I've ever seen. Any event, seasonal change, new enemy faction can be introduced to the players and community like a breaking news report in the ongoing war. And they can take what is just like regular content and advertise it in-game as if it's propaganda. Our scientists have been hard at work creating mechs and they're finally ready for the battlefront. And this is genius, you know? Instead of making a live service that's just an endless list of menial tasks and chores to complete, or an artificially inflated grind to maximize the fear of missing out, the live service here is entirely based on the community's efforts. And I think that's a big reason why the game is sustaining such a large player base and why it will in the future. This is why there's been somewhat of a ceasefire around this game between, you know, PlayStation and Xbox fanboys, because we need all the men we can get.
We have the ships. We have the weapons. We need soldiers.
In conclusion, Helldivers 2 is one of the best co-op games I've ever played. It's some of the most fun I've had with my buddies, and I can't stop playing it. Considering I still play Left 4 Dead 2 and Vermintide 2 semi-regularly, Helldivers 2 is gonna be one of those games. One of those, oh, it's been 5-10 years, let's go play Helldivers 2, and we go back to it as if no time has passed. For their first attempt at a shooter game, Arrowhead have hit a grand slam, and their pro-consumer attitude gives them all the goodwill in the galaxy. I think Helldivers 2 is going to become a landmark title in the 4-player co-op genre, a game so good that studios in the future will look back on it to try and replicate what it does so well. Helldivers 2 is everything I've ever wanted from a co-op PvE game. I'm going to stick around and watch every update from now until support is dropped. And that is why Helldivers 2 is a masterpiece. But what do you think of Helldivers 2? Have you been enjoying it as much as me? What's your favorite part about the game? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Act Man signing out. Peace!